Andrew, are you with us?
There he is.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi,
Andrew,
Andrew.
can
You here?
Andrew, can you hear us? Howdy, howdy, been cut off.
Can you hear us, Andrew? No.
No.
I think it's moving to something. Four acres was too much property for him. He didn't want that.
Oh.
The realtor I'm using is one that I've used in the past. It does a real thorough, it's kind of a yes, he's not there to
Yeah.
this is what they're selling for, this is the level, which I like.
Where you? Got a problem with something he can't provide.
Exactly.
Good evening. I can.
You with us, Andrew?
Yes, sir.
You ready?
Yes.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. It's roll call time.
Okay. Councilmember Kelly,
Present.
Councilmember Turner,
Here.
Councilmember Perkins, Councilmember Mendoza,
Here.
Councilmember Best,
Here.
Vice Mayor Miller,
Here.
Mayor Croft.
Here. Let's go to introduction, presentations, and proclamations, and we have.
Nope.
Can you hear me now? Okay. We're going through introduction, presentations, and proclamations, and we have none. Let's move on to call to the public. Call to the public is an opportunity for the public to address the council on any issue within the jurisdiction of the council that is not on the agenda. Public comment is encouraged. Individuals are limited to speak for 3 minutes. The total time for call to the public may be up to 30 minutes per meeting. Council action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date, or responding to criticism. Do we have anyone that wants to speak? Let me go over here first. Yes, sir, come up. Yes, come up to the microphone, please.
Not much of a public speaker, so bear with
We're
me.
none of us are.
Okay. My partner and I are here from the CBD Connection. The issue with the flags and advertising. I understand it's quite a contention right now. I don't want to be adversarial, but taking the flag down or marker is the only way people have to find us.
State your name first.
Oh, okay, state my name. William Nichols, and my partner is Cindy Crowley.
Do you have a business or? is it a
Yes, the
flag?
CBD Connection.
Oh, okay.
We're down by the coffee shop, actually. Yeah, Overflow Coffee Shop. We're on the far end of that. There's no marquee marker that's big enough to be seen when you're driving by. And in just the last 2 weeks, we've been losing $500 to $800 a day in people that see the sign, drive in and say, oh, hey, we didn't know you were here. How's it going? We don't know how much longer we're going to be able to keep this up. It's hurting us. So, Vice Mayor, do you have something?
No, sir.
Okay,
I
I
was
just wasn't sure. I said, I don't want to be adversarial. We tried to bring a letter down. I called the mayor's office. Whoever answered the phone wouldn't even let me leave a message. Passed me right back to Josh, I think it was, his voicemail, and he is yet to speak with us.
So what I'm gonna do right now is connect you with Josh. He's sitting right back there and he can hear your problem.
Where's Josh? Okay.
So,
So speak with you after the meeting or? After the meeting or tomorrow. Okay. Then we'll try to stay until the meeting's over then.
okay,
Thank you.
hopefully that'll solve your problem.
Well, we're gonna try.
Okay, let's go on. Anybody else call to the public? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I am Beth Vickery, an Eagle Level Frontier Girl. I am here to share information about a program I am running in Chino Valley this summer. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m., all children and their parents are invited to come to the Summer Fun Kid Club for educational and fun activities. This program will be held at the Chino Valley Library Community Room and will happen every Wednesday until July 31st. Every child will receive books at the program, and there will be door prizes for both kids and adults. We have fun contests as well. Tomorrow's program is all about space exploration. We will be doing a spacecraft after learning an adventure story from a NASA ambassador. And next week we will be learning about our American flag. We will have a local veteran teach us how to care for it and then make some patriotic themed crafts. I'm still receiving volunteers to help run each program and sponsor to help support the program. If you wish to volunteer, sponsor, or learn more about the program, you can contact my public relation advisor at 928-899-3582. This program is the main project for my Frontier Girl Eagle Level Diamond Award. I appreciate the support from my community.
Okay, thank you, Beth. I understand your program's going pretty well. Mr. Bruno, you have something to say?
Yes, Mr. Mayor Croft. I just want to let everyone know that Elizabeth is doing an incredible job and she's packing the house.
That's what I hear. Thank you. Thank you, Beth. Okay. Anybody else would like to speak? All right, let's go on response to the public. Response to the public is an opportunity for the mayor to inform the public about how town officials address matters raised during the call of the public at a previous meeting. We have none. We'll go on to current events, summaries, and reports. This item is for information only. The mayor, any council member, or town manager may present a brief summary or report of current events. If listed below, there may also be a presentation on information requested by the mayor and council, and questions may be answered. No action will be taken. I don't have anything. Mike?
Just information that our July 3rd 50th anniversary meeting will be moved to July 10th. In case people have family for 4th of July, we don't want to interrupt them, so it's been moved to July 10th.
Okay. Anybody on this side? No. Okay. The town manager is not in attendance, so anybody from staff have anything to say? Well, the next thing is,
Scott's coming.
come on.
All right. Evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to give an update. And do you have the site map? On our fireworks 4th of July show. As you know, the town's 4th of July fireworks display has been canceled for the last 2 years due to drought conditions and fire restrictions. Several weeks ago, Mayor Croft called a meeting to make sure all involved would be on the same page. 10 of us came together, and at the fireworks launch site, including Mayor Croft, Councilman Turner, 2 fire marshals, 2 of Chino Valley's finest police officers, the landowner, and a representative of the Fireworks Productions of Arizona. The fireworks launch site, I must add, will be on the northeast corner lot of Road 1 East and Perkinsville Road, and the spectator site will be at Community Center Park. Councilman Turner, you walked the length of the shooting site with the fire marshal. What was your opinion on the safety of the area, sir?
Well, we've got at least 3 times the amount of fallout area to the northeast, let's say, that would accommodate our southwest winds. So we've got plenty of clear space. The fire marshal seemed to be happy with everything. The pyrotechnic that does the fireworks seemed to be very happy. So I see that we barring 30, 40 mile an hour winds, we should have a good 4th of July.
Okay. Mayor Croft, you two were at the site. And
we're gonna go with 4th of July.
there we go, and that's what I wanted to ask you. What was your determination after talking to
We're
everybody?
gonna- Unless we have a huge wind that won't die down by the time we shoot the fireworks, it's gonna go, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
So the show goes on?
Show goes on, come on out and have some fun. We got a lot of things going on the 4th.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Report regarding roads. Mr. Marbury, Public Works Director, Town Engineer.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Got a short 30-minute presentation today, so, well, okay. Maybe shorter than that, so.
Don't make me come over there. Uh-oh, I see number 6 there.
I'll go through them quickly. Just wanted to start off with what I think is some good news. If you've ever gone across the Center Street culvert lately, it's seen some damage from weather and traffic. We got a contractor in there and made some repairs and improved the grade of the road to help drainage. So those repairs are complete. That road's back open, and hopefully that's a good permanent fix for that culvert on Center Street over the Santa Cruz Wash. For our FY20 road maintenance, this went through the Roads and Streets Committee. With the result of the election, we had to scale, I don't know if scale back's a word, but had to regroup from planning of if the election passed. Now we look at what we're going to do as business as usual. So the road committee looked at it, and our priorities for this year, we're going to concentrate on Road 1 North and Reed Road, do some crack sealing and striping. For those interested in Road 2 North, I'll go over the reason why that's planned for next year, not this year. Road 1 North, we're looking at repairing that road between Highway 89 and Road 1 East. We're having a geotechnical engineer look at it for a good pavement design, but right now we're thinking it's probably some sort of small widening and asphalt overlay project. Estimating that cost to $150,000 to $200,000. This is in conjunction with the signal that's to be placed at Highway 89 and Road 1 North. That signal is FY20, but the project's due to bid out in fiscal year 20, June of 20. So actual construction, we're looking at the fall of 2021. So it will bid out in fiscal year June of next year. So I may have my years wrong. So it'll start construction in fall of 2020, not 2021. That slide is wrong. So we're looking for September, October to start construction of that signal. Not this fall, but next fall. The other road, since Reed Road is a very high traffic road, you want to try and tackle a piece of that whenever you can. So we're looking at Road 1 North to Center Street, and that includes Grasshopper. That project will pretty much be, again, some patching and hot mix overlay on that project. estimated $200,000. Again, got an engineer looking at it to make sure we get the right pavement design on it. One other thing we're looking at, if I can go back to this slide. After the road committee, we confirmed, if you look at the top bullet point, the state did budget an extra $197,000 to go to cities and towns to be spent for road construction. So instead of our normal $400,000 of sort of leftover HERF money after we do our regular maintenance, that's another 197 on top of that 400,000. So that gives us a little more room, and so we'll start looking at some of these local roads that have been damaged beyond repair. One is Horizon Way over kind of behind McDonald's in that neighborhood. There's an apartment complex on it. So we'll look at reconstructing that street with some of the money. Pepper Tree Place is off of 2 North. So part of it's down to dirt. So we'll look at replacing the pavement on that road and also continuing the repairs on 2 North. Recently, town crews put in a culvert to help the drainage. It's the little dog leg or jog that a lot of people go over, and we had a lot of response in our public meetings about why this isn't fixed. We've been doing some work on it now that the rains have stopped, and got a culvert in there to help drainage. It wasn't CenturyLink, they were out there fixing a phone line. It was town crews putting the culvert in. But we still need to work on the grade of that asphalt to adjust how it falls when the rain hits it. So we'll be actually doing work in 2 North and on Pepper Tree. So we'll combine those 2 projects and try and get those in there. Other priorities are, we started crack sealing in preparation for a slurry seal project. That slurry seal project's been put off because of the funding situation, but we still want to try and finish up crack sealing in some of these asphalt neighborhoods. So we've got Appaloosa 1 and 2 that need to be finished up. And then we still need to crack seal Highlands Ranch and Bright Star. So we'll see where the money goes and do what we can there. And we also want to try and do some striping this year with a project, concentrating on some of the white stop bars on the arterial roads for the stop signs, so it's a little safer at those intersections. And then, of course, double yellows and the white edge stripes would be probably the lower priority of the striping. And that's it.
Questions? Questions? All right.
So, and we'll be bringing those projects to council as time goes on and we get them ready.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go on to the consent agenda. All those
Sorry,
items
you
listed
drive.
below are considered to be routine and may be enacted by one motion. Any council member may request to remove an item from the consent agenda to be considered and discussed separately. Anyone want to move this side? Moving the item from consent?
All right.
This side?
No.
May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we accept the agenda items 6A, B, C, and D.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, let's go on to 7 action items. The council may vote to recess the public meeting and hold an executive session on any item on this agenda pursuant to ARS 38-431-03A3 for the purpose of discussion or consultation for legal advice with the town attorney. Executive sessions are not open to the public and no action may be taken in executive session. Let me go to item 7A. Consideration and possible action to adopt ordinance number 2019-870 to rezone approximately 378 acres of real property from SR2 Single Family Residential 2-acre minimum zoning district to SR1 Single Family Residential 1-acre minimum zoning district. The subject property is located on the southeast corner of East Perkinsville Road and M.A. Perkins Trailway, north of Bright Star subdivision. Assessors parcel number 3062301J and 3062018N, owner Century Ranch LLC, applicant Jim Fletcher, and Mr. Lerma.
Mayor, can you present item B as well? These
Item
items
B.
will be presented concurrently.
Is there a problem, Mr. Attorney, doing A and B? Andrew?
No, sir, they can be together.
Thank you. Let's go on to item B, consideration of possible action to approve Century Ranch Phase 1 to Phase 10 preliminary plat subdividing 180.5 acres of the total 378 acres into 113 one-acre lots developed in 10 phases. The subject property is located on the southwest corner of East Perkinville Road and M.A. Perkins Trailway, north of Bright Star subdivision. Mr. Lerma.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Before you have two items by the applicant, Mr. Fletcher, a rezone. He's requesting to change the classification of his property and for preliminary plan approval. This is a map showing just the location of the area. As stated before, the area is located southwest of Perkinsville Road and M.A. Perkins. As you can see here in this map, the general area is predominantly made up of residential subdivisions. We have a lower density subdivision to the east, Antelope Bridge Estates, to the south, Bright Star, to the west, Chino Meadow, Unit 1 through 5, and Highlands Ranch. Further west is Colonial Villas. The property is made up of 378 acres. It is currently rezoned SR2, single-family residential 2-acre minimum. And it has a land use designation of community future growth area, industrial ag business, contained plant community in the general plan map. Here's just a zoning map indicating the current zoning of the property and the surrounding zoning of adjacent properties. As we can see here, we have different residential zoning classifications, and to the north we have public land and state land. So the applicant has applied and is requesting a zone change for the 378 acres to rezone his property from single-family residential 2-acre minimum to single-family residential 1-acre minimum. The change of the zoning classification will allow the applicant to proceed forward with his preliminary plat to plat out the property to 1-acre lots. Here is the phasing of the preliminary plat. You can see here that the phases are color coordinated. It is the preliminary plat will be for phase 1 through phase 10. The recordation of the plat will subdivide approximately 180 acres of the 370 acres into 113 1-acre lots, as I said before, from phase 1 through phase 10. The remainder 207 acres are future phases that will be developed. These future phases will need to come back to council and get approval from council. If he wants to go at a higher density for a zone change, and obviously for the pre and final plat for those future phases will need to come back. So as of right now, we're only focusing on that area that's colored, which is 113 lots. So staff has looked at the preliminary plat and has reviewed it. We're looking at this point, we're looking at the development standards, making sure that all lots meet minimal lot size. And based on the preliminary plat, all lots are defining at least 1 acre. With the exception of lot 1, 2, and 84, all lots meet a minimum lot frontage of 100 feet. Because the applicant didn't apply for PAD, a planned area development, to get alleviation on these 3 lots. We're expecting Mr. Fletcher through the final plat to adjust the lot frontage on these 3 lots to meet at least 100 acres.
Excuse me, could we refrain, please, from having the side conversation? I know, just the talking. Thank you.
Basically, what the preliminary plat here is indicating, that besides the phases that are color coordinated, it's just stating this is phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. The verbiage here on the sides is just indicating what the property's information as far as the APN number and the current zoning on them. That's basically what all this language is stating. All arterial and collector streets shall be dedicated to the town, with all improvements done before acceptance of the town of these streets. The town utilities are available near the project. I believe utilities end about somewhere around here on Perkinsville Road and Old Home Manor. So there's a 12-inch sewer main and a water line that goes along Perkinsville Road. And again, like I stated, it ends about here. The project will further need to extend the line in order to connect to town utilities. The project will also provide sidewalks along the arterial and collector streets with either a 8 feet or 6 feet landscaping strip in between the sidewalk and the street, depending on what type of street it is. Property owners adjacent to the project were notified personally, and public notification was sent out to the general public. The Planning and Zoning Commission was held the first of the month on June 4th, 2019. During said meeting, Commission stated that the property was adjacent to Peavine Trail, and through final approval wanted a condition through the zoning, or a stipulation, that the Peavine Trail remain unharmed and repair of impact by the development shall be paid. Staff didn't really see a necessity to add this as a condition. And this will be done at a staff level through Public Works. If the project is abutting or intruding within the Peavine Trail, the applicant will need to submit for a right-of-way permit, and Public Works will have oversight on that. The Planning and Zoning Commission forwarded a recommendation approval to Town Council for both items unanimously. Staff believes that the request for the zone change will have the property as a transitional zoning between the higher density zonings on the west of the subject property to the lower density zonings to the east of the property. So it'll basically be a transitional zoning for the area. So, staff and Planning and Zoning Commission forwarded a recommendation of approval to Town Council. First, for the adoption of ordinance 2019-870 to rezone approximately 370 acres of real property from the SR2 zoning to the SR1 zoning with the following conditions. And I'll just skim through these. The first one is the staff is requesting that there be connectivity with a subdivision and the Peavine Trail. That will be done through pedestrian paths and trailways. Number two, I said it before, that the developer will need to dedicate right-of-way on East Road 2 North and East Perkinsville. Number three is stating that all improvements shall be done on both streets. And number four is stating that the project shall extend and connect to town utilities, both water and sewer. Staff and planning and zoning is also forwarding a recommendation of approval for the preliminary plat that will subdivide the 378 acres into 113, or 180 of those acres into 113 1-acre lots from phase 1 through phase 10. Something I forgot to mention, one of the residents was asking during Planning and Zoning Commission about about the project, when it was going to start. I believe Mr. Fletcher answered that if all goes to plan and approval and this project gets approved, that he plans to start the project in the fall and is going to start with phase 1 and 3. The applicant is here. If Mayor and Council have any questions for him or for myself.
Questions?
Do they need to reach a certain level of completion before lots are allowed to be sold or built on?
I do not have an answer for that. Josh, do you have an answer?
Before the lots will be able to be sold and developed, the final plat will have to be completed and approved by you and then recorded with Yavapai County.
Okay, and that'll be done per phase is what I'm understanding?
That's correct. They will record each phase or multiple phases at once. It'll be dependent on Mr. Fletcher, how he wants to do that. But there are 10 phases. He might do one phase or 3 phases at a time. I don't know. But those lots cannot be sold until it's recorded with Yavapai County.
And that can't be done until all the improvements are complete?
The improvements, there's specific improvements that will be done according to the phasing. And so when he comes in to record, say, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, then there's certain improvements in infrastructure that will have to go in order to make those phases possible. Those will take place at that time. But he's not going to be required to put in all of the improvements with phase 1. So phase 10 improvements are not going to have to be done until he records phase 10. So he can't sell a lot in phase 10 if he's only recorded phases 1 through 3. So does that answer your question?
We have some situations where people have gone in and started a project like this, and next thing you know, they're selling off lots before the road is ever complete. Is that not going to happen here?
No, that's not going to happen.
Okay, that's kind of the bottom line to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just question this emergency access road. Was that going to be paved as they go ahead and develop 1, 2, and 3, or will that come after 4?
The that emergency access road, it does not necessarily have to be paved. I'll have to talk with the fire. It's going to be provided, but I don't know if they're going to gravel it in or if they're going to pave it.
Okay.
This side?
You have any? Barring a huge drop down in our economy, what is the idea of total completion at this point in time?
We attach those conditions and stipulations so that if Mr. Fletcher sells off the remaining portion of the land to additional developers, that they will then have to come in and those improvements will have to be done as part of any future development.
So all of the improvements through phase 10 would have to be done at that time?
Right, all the improvements through phase 10, I believe Mr. Fletcher is planning on doing those. The remaining portion, which states future, if he continues to come in and develop those, then additional infrastructure will be required to be dedicated and constructed, and he would do that. The stipulations that we've included are attached to the rezoning itself, so that even if Mr. Fletcher were to sell off that property to another developer, they would be required to put in that infrastructure.
No, my question was just for Mr. Fletcher really is if everything goes good, economy's up, things are still moving, what would be your projected timeline that you were done with Phase 10 and it was all completed?
Phase 10, I would imagine 2 years.
Jim, would you come up there? Thank you. So we can record you.
Mayor and council, my name is Jim Fletcher. I'm a local resident, and we would like to start this fall if we can get all the engineering and stuff completed. We already have our analysis for our assured water supply submitted to ADWR, and that's supposed to be back in the next couple weeks. So the final plat is very close. They've done a lot of work. The drainage study is all done on the whole 378 acres. If you look on the last sheet, you'll see the future detention ponds and things. So we've done a lot of this work in the last 18 months. So we would like to get going as soon as we can. Very nice project, Divided Boulevard, ties in from Perkinsville to Unity Road and Bright Star. The utilities, the water line is right outside of the entrance. Sewer line is maybe 600 feet away. We have the design and that's already been engineered also. So to answer your question, I think it's gonna take us at least 24 months to get to the 113, phase 10. We'd sure like to get phase 1, 2, and 3 sometime by this time next year open.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
And that definitely includes in the utilities, the sewer, water, and electric hookups, so that it's provided into the facility.
Right, it's city water, city sewer, and APS on electric.
Okay.
Separately, you don't
Yeah,
need it?
no, let's do it. Just make sure.
Good question. You mentioned utilities. Is gas going to be available too, or are they going to be on propane?
No, there'll be natural gas.
Natural gas, okay. That's good.
Yeah,
That helps us.
All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
I need a motion.
I need,
One more.
one
Hold on.
more from Josh. If this goes through, I know, we've had discussions on rezoning part of Old Home Manor from public land, to a different zoning. Is this going to affect the town's plans at Old Home Manor?
No, this won't affect that.
Okay, we have enough separation there for that. Okay.
Okay. Let's do item A, please.
Make a motion, we adopt ordinance number 2019-870 to rezone approximately 378 acres of real property from SR2 zoning district to SR1 zoning district with the recommended conditions.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item B, please.
I make a motion to approve adoption of Century Ranch Phase 1, Tim preliminary plot subdivision, 180.5 acres of the total 378 acres of into 113 1-acre lot development in 10 phases.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, let's go on to item C. Public hearing regarding resolution number 2019-1143 relating to the town final budget for fiscal year 2019-2020 and the proposed expenditure limitation for the year in the amount of $27,976,800. Mr. Duffy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Tonight I have just a real short, brief presentation on our budget, and then we can have the public hearing. We'll also need to do the same thing for the Chino Valley Street Lighting Improvement District. And then after that, the public hearing, then we'll recess into a special meeting where you can adopt the ordinances or the resolutions for the budgets, for both the budgets. So we are in our final steps. We've been through several phases, basically starting in May, but a budget, of course, starts in January or February with staff, and we just start working from that point forward. So we're finally at the home stretch, the last thing we need to do. We're adopting a budget tonight of $27,976,000, an increase of about $3.4 million over last year's budget. Every year, as you can see, last year's budget, we adopted $24,525,000, and we only spent $19 million. And that's because, one, we add things just in case, but we also manage our budget very conservatively.
Can you X out that red box, please? Thank you.
Well, then we got the attorney.
Then we have to look at
Okay.
Andrew.
Oh, good. Sorry, Andrew.
Yay.
There you go.
Thank you.
All righty. Just briefly going through each of the funds. We're ending this year with basically we brought in this is the general fund, $10,244,000 in revenue, spent about $9.6 million. So we're ending with a surplus of $573 million. And Mayor and Council, we've been doing this just about every year since I've been here, and it's because of our conservative approach. With your guidance, we underestimate revenues and we overestimate expenses. We have department heads who really watch every penny and do the best job they can to not spend the money unless they absolutely need it. So that allows us basically to have a little bit of excess every year and has allowed us to build our reserves, which are now required to be about $3.2 million, and then after this year, they're gonna be at $4.3 million. So it really helps us quite a bit. The HERF fund, we spent a little bit more than we brought in this year, but that was planned, just with extra road projects. We're getting into the year with a fund balance of about $791 million. And after all the projects, including the $100,000 that we contribute from the general fund, up from $75 last year, and the $400 that we actually put on the roads, we're actually gonna spend about $300,000 of that extra money. Now, the one good thing that Frank did mention is the state did distribute money to all the cities and towns, so we all get an extra $197,000. So we didn't budget for that revenue, but we will be able to spend it this year. We have plenty of capacity. The capital improvement fund, which is 1% of our state sales tax, the big thing we do here is we always add an extra $2 million of revenue and expense just in case we get a federal grant or we have emergency money and we need to spend it. It's sort of our buffer. But we're also transferring $2 million in from the general fund, and then in July we'll have a study session to go over what we're going to use that for, whether we use some of it or all of it. And we've been talking about economic development projects and getting some of the big projects off the shelf and completed. This is sort of a one-time shot in the arm we have here, so maybe, council, it's your discretion, and we'll be discussing that in detail in July. The water fund no longer requires any funding from the general fund. For the last couple of years, it has been solidly in the black. It still owes the general fund a little bit of money left, but not much. And as growth continues, that'll be paid back very fine. So actually, cash flow wise this year, we brought in $750,000 in revenue, $674 in expenses. We basically, cash flow wise, we're positive about $75,000. And so we anticipate that continuing about $60,000 next year. And so the water system is solidly in the black, which is definitely a great testament for the town. The sewer system, it was in the black a year or so earlier. And this year we generated excess cash of about $376,000 with about $2 million in revenue. A lot of that was buy-in fee revenues, people buying into the $6,000 they paid for a home. So that was a significant contributor like it was in the prior year. We budgeted basically bond proceeds from WIFA and a WIFA project just in case we need to borrow some money and do a sewer extension if that happens. We've been doing that as sort of a placeholder every year for these funds. So with that, overall, the town's financial condition continues to improve. We're basically, 7 years ago when I started, I would say the town's financial position was very poor. It's not great, but it's good. I think we're on a very solid foundation where we are today. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Questions?
Good.
Questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to go into public hearing.
I'll second it.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're in a public hearing. Do we have any comments from our audience about the budget? Hearing none, I'd like to have a motion to close public hearing.
I'll make a motion we close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's go on to item D. Public hearing regarding resolution number 2019-1141 relating to the statements estimate of expenses of the town of Chino Valley street lighting improvement districts for fiscal year 2019-2020, which shall constitute the budget of the districts for fiscal year 2019-2020, and the tax levy anticipated in conjunction with the budgets of the district. Mr. Duffy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. As Mayor and Council knows, this is the Chino Valley Street Lighting Improvement District, which is basically the street lights up in Bright Star, and they've divided it into 3 separate districts. Each year, we come up with, in May, we adopt a resolution adopting the estimates of expenditures for the district for next year. Tonight, we adopt a resolution doing the statement estimates, which basically constitute the final budget. And then on July 9th, we approve a resolution setting the tax rate. So it's just the steps we have to take. The district is actually pretty simple. Last year, we had a fund balance at the end of the year of $37, and so it's actually pretty close to the way we break it out here. The revenue, we bill the district for the amount that APS charges us for the power on the streetlights. That's the only cost that's done. And so the $4,000 we bring in every year is pretty much exactly what we spend, within a few pennies on it, so.
Questions?
No question here.
Questions this side?
Nope.
I need a motion to hold a public hearing.
I'll make a motion, we hold a public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're in a public hearing. Does anyone in the audience want to speak to this lighting situation and attack? Hearing none, I need a motion to close the public
I'll
hearing.
make a motion, we close.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, our next step is to go into a special meeting. And this is Tuesday, June 25th, 2019. And the reason we have to go into special meeting is we have to again prove the budget and the SID. So and it has to be a special meeting. I have a motion to go into special meeting.
You're making it, or
I'd like a motion.
I make a motion, we go into special meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, call to order. Roll call, please, for the second special meeting. I don't think any of us left, but
Councilmember Kelly,
Present.
Councilmember Turner,
Here.
Councilmember Mendoza,
Here.
Councilmember Best,
Here.
Vice Mayor Miller,
Here.
Mayor Croft,
here. Okay,
and
let's take
Councilmember
item
Perkins
number
absent.
2, consideration of possible action to adopt resolution number 2019-1143, adopting a final budget for fiscal year 2019-2020 and proposed expenditures limitation for the same year in the amount of $27,976,800. Mr. Duffy?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and that's what we'll need to do is adopt resolution number 209-1143 to officially adopt the budget for next fiscal year.
Questions?
No questions.
Questions?
No. No.
I need a motion, please.
I make a motion, we adopt resolution number 2019-1143, adopting the final budget and proposed expenditure limitation for fiscal year 2019-2020 in the amount of $27,976,800.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, let's go on to item 3, consideration of possible action to adopt resolution number 2019-1141, adopting the statements and estimate of expenses of the Town of Chino Valley Street Lighting Improvement District for fiscal year 2019-2020, which shall constitute the budget of the district for the fiscal year 2019-2020. Questions?
No.
Questions?
Nope.
Can I have a motion?
I make a motion, we adopt resolution number 2019-1141, approving the statements and estimates of expense of the Town of Chino Valley Street Lighting Improvement District for fiscal year 2019-2020, which shall constitute the budget of the districts for fiscal year 2019-2020.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Make a motion, we adjourn the special meeting.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Now we're back into the regular meeting, is resumed. After the special meeting, council will reconvene the regular meeting, and we have an executive session. I need a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion, we go to executive
Is
session.
there a
Second.
second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We're going to executive session. And let me read the, council may vote to recess the regular meeting, hold an executive session which will not be open to public for the following purpose. An executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431-03A4 for discussion or consultation with the town attorney in order to consider its position, instruct the town attorney regarding the town's position regarding a contract that is the subject of negotiations, license and concessionaire agreement with Compass Training Center AZ related to the management of the Chino Valley Sporting Facility. Okay, we are in executive session.
Let's go.
Pass that down. Oh. See what I have to put